gal pals, we are back with another video. I am super excited for this video. First of all, let me say that this community is just so good, guys. You guys are like just awesome. I love seeing y'all interact online, the girls who are showing up to the circles, and just know that like no matter where you come from, who you are, or if you're coming to every circle or you've never been or you're never gonna be able to come because you live super far away, I cherish you, I cherish your input, and I'm so excited that you found us and that you're watching this video and just everything. You are awesome. So with that being said, this week's circle went super well. So many girls were just like willing to open up and talk about this topic: anxiety, depression, homesickness, just stress in general. I appreciate that so much because it can be hard to talk about. The second we choose to like stop acknowledging that like mental illness and like emotions are legit, that's a problem number one. We're gonna dive deep into this today, and I actually have my roommate Grace has some guest videos that will be inserted throughout this video. I hope you guys are excited, and we will go ahead and get started. So the first thing I kind of want to talk about is anxiety and depression in college. These are so real. These are so common. Don't be afraid to speak up, get help, and tell your friends about it because people want to help you. People want you to be well. Don't be embarrassed or shy because it's a lot more common than you think. I actually shared a statistic with the girls on a little worksheet. So I will go ahead and link this website below, but I pulled this from learnpsychology.org. 80% of college students say they sometimes or often feel stressed. I would go as far as to say that number has to be a lot higher because I personally feel stressed out 100% of the time at school almost. And it also says 13% of college students have been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, or other mental health conditions. This is not uncommon and it needs to be spoken about, so like speak up. I know so many people just at my school alone who were like having problems and wanted to talk about it and wanted to get help. So now I'm gonna kick it right over to Grace. So I'm gonna ask her a question and then she's gonna go ahead and respond. So I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this little setup that we have going here. So first, Grace, go ahead and tell us about yourself and like where you're from and things. If you could explain any experience you've had with anxiety in college or depression and then how you dealt with either of those.
Hey guys. Okay, hi everybody. I'm just gonna introduce myself. My name is Grace. I'm Josie's roommate, if you did not know that already. I'm super excited. The topic this week is really good and I think relatable to a lot of people. I'm from Salina, Ohio, which is about 2 hours north of Xavier. I'm majoring in entrepreneurial studies. So I will go ahead and say yes, I definitely have experience with both of them. Depression is something that I struggled with even before college. So that was like something I was super nervous about going into college. Just how would I deal with that? Not being like with my family who knew me and knew how to take care of me and I could be really open with them. I was super nervous about that. I think from the get-go, kind of what calmed me was knowing Josie, my roommate, and I told her about that from the beginning, like, just so you know, this is something I struggle with, you know, not to be freaked out, but like, I wanted her to be there in case something would happen. How I handled it sometimes was good, sometimes was bad, but I definitely lean on other people a lot, whether I'm at college or at home. After Christmas break, I came back and sort of had like a midlife crisis, as I called it. For like 2 weeks, I had just a really hard time for no reason, honestly. I don't know if it was a weird adjustment back, but I was just really open about it with Josie. I had a hard time getting out of bed every day and showering and skipping classes. I mean, it was like definitely one of the hardest parts of my year. And honestly, I think the beautiful thing about college is like, I feel like in high school, it's like such a like taboo thing to like talk about. Guys, everybody has bad days. Like everybody's, you know, mental health gets to them here and there. And I think in college though, it's super cool because people are so much more open about that, which I really liked. You know, I know every single one of my friends, we all went through bad times. And it's not like we don't already. I mean, I'm sure you, wherever you're at in life, have already, you know, recently struggled with something. So I think it's cool just that everybody's open about that. And I would really say my biggest advice would just be okay with talking about it. No, you don't want to be a burden on other people, but your friends care about you and they want to help take care of you. And you want to be able to take care of your friends when they're struggling. So let them do the same for you. I ended up going to talk to a counselor. Xavier offers them for free for students, which is super awesome. And I'm sure your university might do the same. So I booked an appointment and I really didn't want to go. I had never talked to somebody before, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Josie stood outside and watched me walk there. And like just that kind of accountability in different things, because I wanted to feel better, but sometimes it's hard to like dig yourself out of the hole by yourself. So having somebody else that can help you get pushed out of that tough spot who isn't in that same spot is like super, super awesome.
So one thing I wanted to add to Grace's thing is that since I personally kind of watched her go through her struggle, you have to be able to notice like signs in your friends and signs in just your peers in general that they are struggling, and don't be afraid to offer them help and watch them walk to where they need to be to get help, and like sit there and just listen. Even if you're not the one going through it, being there for the people who are. So my next question for Grace is, what stresses you out the most in college, and what are good ways to overcome that stress?
Stress is a real freaking part of college, let me tell you. It just happens, you know? I would say for me, the thing that stressed me out the most was just like, it's so new. Classes are like an hour long, like randomly throughout your day. Like you're not stuck in the same building for 7 hours out of the day. You have new friends, you're living on your own. Like I think really just time management, routine, like it's so different, and I think that because of that, it just easily gets super duper stressful. I would definitely say that for me. How did I like combat the stress? I tried to be more organized. I'm like not organized. Josie will tell you that. I'm just like not very good at like using a planner, or like, yeah, that's just not my strong suit. So I would say just like trying to be like, okay, today I have to do my laundry. I have to finish this paper, and I'm gonna study for like an hour for this exam. Time blocking and trying to have some sort of like firm plans for things that have to get done, I think was super helpful for me. And also just like talking about it with other people. It's so easy to get like wrapped up in like, I have like 40 million hours of studying and I should not leave the library until I need to go to bed. Like there's so much pressure to constantly be working on things, which yes, school is important, but if you don't like take a break from that, you are gonna get burnt out. So I would definitely say scheduling in time to like go hang out with your friends, or grab a meal with somebody, or take a break, do something for you. That's like such a good way to deal with stress also, and I'm like not nearly good enough at that. I need to work on that big time, because I will just get in this like zone where I'm stressed, and then I will just like live with it and be like, I have this to do and this to do and this to do. Cut yourself some slack. You're doing the best you can. A 20-minute break is not gonna hurt you. Take care of yourself.
So one other thing that we talked about at the circle this week is the fact that like everyone is constantly comparing their productivity to the next person, and it's so stressful because everyone is on their own schedule, so you feel the constant need to just like be proving yourself to other people. You hear all the time,
I have to go to the library for 7 hours, I have to go do this, I have to do my laundry.
And it should be more about, I get to do these things, I get to do my homework. It's not all about comparison. Everyone's on their own schedule, and that is fine. Final thing we're gonna talk about is homesickness. Personally, I didn't get too homesick because I only live about an hour from my house, and I got to see my family often enough that it was never a huge deal for me. If you are a little bit further, I personally just recommend, I know it sounds super basic, FaceTime, call, try and be a part of the family. The dynamic of your family does kind of shift when you go to college, and I think that's true with like the whole sibling relationship and all that kind of stuff. My final question for Grace, how often did you get homesick, and how did you deal with that?
So like I said, I live 2 hours away from my school, and I really didn't go home other than breaks. My family came down to visit here and there, and I went up to visit, you know, for breaks and things like that. I definitely like had room to get homesick. I wasn't seeing them all the time or anything. A couple good ways that I dealt with that, I like called my mom on the phone like every single day, partially because it was just good to know what was going on at home, like feeling like still a part of, talking to everybody, but also like I didn't know how to do a lot of adult things. But then other than that, I would say really like leaning on your friends at school. Tell one of them about it, like let them be there for you, things like that. Back to my like midlife crisis, I was just having like a super bad week. On Friday, I got done with class and I came back to my dorm, and my friends were like, Grace, there's something going down in your room. So I was like, what? So I like ran over there, we're freaking out, and my brother came down to surprise me. I hadn't seen anybody from my family in like a little while, and I was just having like a super bad week and like wanted just somebody. So sure enough, he came down and surprised me. So that was cool, because had my roommate not known that I was really struggling, she wouldn't have like reached out to my family and things like that. Be open with your family, be open with your friends, you know, lean on other people. Like everybody has hard times at school. I know all of my friends had days where they were like, I just kind of want to be home, and that's totally okay. College is stressful and it happens, but I would say, you know, keep yourself busy, talk to your family, see what's going on, try to make times for, you know, them to come visit you, see where your new life is at. If you're at the place you're meant to be, happy and doing things that you love, yes, you'll miss your family, but you'll be able to get through it a lot easier.
So finally, I wanted to share some of the advice from the other girls in our community. First, don't be afraid to ask for help. Find a person and make them your rock. So true. No matter who it is, whether it's a counselor, friend, whoever, find that person and be okay with talking about your feelings. If you find yourself anxious or depressed, just make that step out of your dorm room and it can make all the difference. Find a spot on campus to be your spot and go there when you're in your feels. Personally, for me, it is the chapel. Find a positive outlet that also takes care, like working out or focus on eating healthy. That is such a good way just to kind of keep distracted. And personally, anytime I would feel super stressed or overwhelmed, I would just like want to go running. I personally found that like drinking coffee made me super anxious because I'd never had coffee really before college. That was always a great way for me to just like work out, get all my built up energy out. This person says mental health issues are way more common than you think. It'll never hurt to talk through it. And finally, I love this one. Journal your experience. Look at what works and what doesn't. Journaling is something I'm terrible at but wish I was really good at. If you can stick with it and kind of just like watch your experience and your growth, this is a great way to do that. And then questions that y'all had in the community. How often do you end up going home during the school year? For me, like I said, I only live like an hour away. So I probably came home like 2 or 3 times in the first semester, obviously for breaks and things, but outside of breaks, probably only like once or twice. And then second semester was a little bit more, maybe like 5 or 6 times. I really don't know. How long should I wait to come home for the weekend? I totally recommend once you move in to stay past that first Labor Day weekend if you can. Really try and make it a full month if you can, because you need a little bit of time away from your family to be able to adjust and then decide to go home. And then finally, siblings. I'm going to miss them so much. How do I live without them? Siblings are really hard to leave. I definitely do have to say. I have 2 younger brothers, but I would say that overall the adjustment that I've had going to college and then kind of like the new relationship that I form with them is so cool. We're so much closer now than we ever were, I would say. It does definitely change the dynamic of your entire family, like I said, but it's honestly for the better. You'll find that it actually strengthens the bond rather than like tearing it apart. You just kind of have to find like new ways and new times to communicate, and I think it all works out how it's supposed to. So the biggest thing I want you guys to take away from this video is really just to not be afraid to talk about your feelings and to speak up and realize that like every single person in this entire situation is in the same boat as you, and it's okay to like be stressed out. It's okay to be overwhelmed, and just like talk it out and take a 20-minute break every once in a while. Like no one's gonna kill you if you just like stop and do some, you know, self-care, self-love.
All about that self-love.
So that's really all I have for you guys today. I hope this video was super helpful and gives you kind of a glimpse of what we did at this circle. Thanks again, and I will see you guys in next week's video. See ya.